girl and a little boy came to me. And there's a lot more to this dream, but I want you to understand, I'm an evidential medium, and I was experiencing a visitation dream. A visitation dream is where a loved one or spirit comes through to either help you with grief. So for example, a lot of people who have loved ones that pass will experience this type of visitation dream, which tells them everything is going to be okay. And sometimes spirit comes through, our loved ones can come through, even spirit guides, angels, so much more. But messages can be delivered that are important. I had Jack and Lilly Sullivan, the missing children from that small coastal Nova Scotia town, come to me in my dream. So while I cannot prove if they are alive or if they are dead, I will share with you that my perspective as an evidential medium who has worked with law enforcement agencies, private investigators, as well as families, that I suspect that they are in the afterlife. Again, always let the evidence lead the path forward to what is true and what isn't, because that's the world that we live in. But I plan on sharing with you some of the intuitive insights that I received from this dream and from remote viewing the circumstances of their disappearance. My hope in this video is that your intuition could perhaps be a missing piece in the mysterious circumstances of the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. That in the dream, Lilly was the primary communicator to me. She was the one who spoke. Jack was more silent in the background, and Lilly was like the leader. So she took charge in guiding me, but I want you to understand that Jack was there the entire time. And very much like Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, where there were scenes with spirit to help him understand. What I'm about to share with you with my dream is that there were scenes to it. The first scene that occurred was actually we were flying, which is a very common dream as well, a dream experience as well. And I actually saw myself flying over beautiful, dense forests and woods. They brought me to the Atlantic Northeast to Pictou County, which is where their home was in Lansdowne Station. And they flew me over rivers and over very dusty dirt roads and roads that seemed like nobody ever really traveled. It was very desolate in the area where I was taken and very remote. But you could also smell the ocean and pine mixing together. That was one of the beautiful joys that Lilly wanted me to experience in the dream, was this great scent and the air of the area. She was telling me that it was very special. And when we arrived to the mobile home and the trailer where they had lived their lives until they disappeared, she showed me that this was home. Of course, me as an adult coming to this place, I could see economic impoverishment and hardship left and right. A lot of cluttered items, broken things cluttered around this mobile home trailer. But where Lilly took me in the dream was to show me that they knew the woods, that they knew not to travel alone into the woods. She showed me that they always stayed close to the house and that they wouldn't have left on some trip whether it was a hot sunny day or it was snowing, they always stayed close to home. They knew better than to take off into the woods. There were certain things that were frightening to them, like times where they would hear coyotes howling in the distance, because she showed me that there would be moments where that would be scary for her as a child. With that, she also brought me into the bedroom, and it looked to me like the parents' bedroom, where she says that there was aspects of the investigation that were overlooked. So I don't know if the investigation was able to specifically go inside the trailer and search, but I see that there was some sort of important evidence that could trace their whereabouts. Because the other aspects that she brought forth to me is that there would be more evidence coming out in October 2025, and she also showed me that in 3 years there would be a greater break to the case. She says that somebody knows what happens to them, but they're keeping silent out of fear for just their safety. I do see that this individual that caused the harm to them had been in jail before. He's a man. I also see that the man that did this to them was someone that they had met before, a friend of the family. I don't know specifically who it was, but it's somebody that they knew. I also was shown that the morning that they disappeared, that they had heard the truck at the bottom of the driveway pull in. And I was shown a very dark gray, like F-150 truck, not new, an old one, and that the sides of the truck had rust because of the climate where the trucks are. There's issues with rust in the area. So I just want you to understand, she was showing me that there was rust on the side bottom doors of this black, and to me, I just say F-150. It was that kind of style of truck. It was a work truck, and it was somebody that's local, that understands all of these back roads. He pulled up that day because of the intense fight that I was shown that had happened the night before. So Lilly kind of rewound time in the dream and shared with me that there was a big family argument between mom and dad. She also says that mommy knows more than she's been telling people, not meaning that she's directly the person that caused the issue to her, but because mommy hasn't shared her side, is sort of the way I interpreted it in the dream. So I want you to understand that other scenes that I saw in this dream that she shared with me is that the relationship between mommy and daddy, those two had what I would describe as a toxic relationship. It's interesting because after I woke up, I took time to research some of the aspects that I saw in my dream and saw that there had been an issue over the cell phone, that he would take her cell phone so she couldn't contact people. The other aspects in the dream that came forth that I feel are important is the bedroom window, that there is evidence there. I also want you to understand the man who took the children, all he had to do was open up the truck door and tell the kids that he was taking them somewhere fun. But he ended up driving them 2.5 hours, I believe, north and west to a remote location. I will let you know the third person that I see, I cannot clearly identify who he is connected to. If he's connected to Daniel, if he's connected to the mother, I can't clearly, even in this dream, tell you who this third person is. But he was known to the children. I also see that he has a beard, and the day that he picked the kids up, I see he also had like some kind of soft cloth bandana that he had pulled over his nose, and he was wearing sunglasses. I also see that he was barrel-chested, he had muscular arms, and he was more on the tall side. I think that he was between 6'1" and 6'2". I also believe that he had a flannel jacket on the day that he picked the kids up, black and gray and white flannel jacket, and he had, again, this sort of like bandana over his face, and he told the kids that he was cold, and that's why he was wearing it. I almost wonder if perhaps this was an opportunity by this third person to disrupt the relationship between the mother and the stepfather. I don't believe that he had intended to harm the children. I don't believe that this was an attempt to be nefarious, but I want you to understand that accidents happened along the way that led to, I believe, them crossing into the afterlife. So I want you to understand spirit works through absolutely every aspect and way possible, whether it's ChatGPT and AI, or if it is the algorithm on social media, spirit will find you and communicate to you. And it's interesting because as I woke up and had a coffee to actually understand the location and the land where they were raised and where they disappeared. Very specifically, I see that the indigenous people, the Micmac people, are stewards of the land, and that they had lived there for centuries until settlers showed up in the 1700s, and most of them were from Scotland. And it's interesting because the Scottish and the indigenous Micmac people were able to cohabitate on the same land without taking control and ownership. I also want to remind people that when we start talking about Scottish individuals or Irish in that specific region, that there was a connection that these people had to the land and to the landscape. So I feel like there is some of that harmony between these very different groups of people, and that they were able to understand how to coexist and how to be resourceful. So while I was trying to understand the history of the land, I accidentally downloaded a PDF of a book that was published in 1931. And this book was all about Lansdowne Station. That's the area, the town where Jack and Lilly lived. And in this book, I was like, well, this is kind of interesting, reading about the history of this specific region. And I just sort of scrolled through it till I landed on a chapter which was called Lost in the Woods. And it was a story of this woman in June of 1819. Her name was Mary Murray, who went out and saw that the cows had left the farm. So she decided to walk out into the woods and find the cows. So her husband is out doing, I don't know, farmer things, and realizes at a certain point he can't find the cows and he can't find his wife. It's as though she just vanished. So he goes to his other family members, he goes to the community, and they put together a search and rescue in 1819. They search woods that were more dense and thick than they are now. They searched every single day for 6 days. And on the 6th day, using a horn that they would blow out, her husband said, "This is it. I give up after this. She is forever gone." He blows that horn one last time, and his wife answers. They are reunited, and she lives to be a very old lady, happy with lots of grandchildren, as the story goes. So I find it interesting that, like, in this place where Jack and Lilly disappear, that we could even go back generations and see how easy it is to get lost in the woods. But unlike Jack and Lilly, Mary was actually found by the search and rescue teams. And at the very end of this paragraph was this little, like, 2 sentences which noted that when people are lost, they often move in a circle, coming back to the same place where they got lost. And even more specific was that oftentimes people would move in a circle to the east and back. And that sort of triggered in me that remembrance that when I hike, if I get lost, to stay put. Because I've been told that it's true that people will meander in circles, not getting anywhere when they get lost, so it's best to stay put. So energetically, as I start to remote view what happened that day, May 2nd, when Jack and Lilly disappeared, I see a third individual. I also see from the dream and from being able to connect to Lilly that they knew better than to wander deeply into the woods. There is absolutely no reason that I personally will share that, based on my intuition, that they would have wandered into the woods and somehow got lost. I don't believe that. To me, that makes the most logical sense. Kids will be kids, of course, so let the evidence always be the clear path to truth, but I'm just sharing with you, I don't think that's what happened. I think that there is a third individual that knew the children and brought them 2.5 hours northwest to a specific place, and that the reason why this individual took the children was to disrupt the relationship. I feel like people were trying to separate the two from what was a very toxic relationship. Now, about the mother, I also see that the mother felt fear for her safety. I believe when I look at her energy that she wanted to leave the house immediately because she felt unsafe. That's why she moved in with family members. I also specifically will share energetically, as I look at the mother, that she had wanted out of that relationship for a long time. But I don't believe that she would want to leave the relationship in a way that would cause harm to her kids. I believe that she loved her children. And I know there's a lot of speculation around substance abuse at the house. And despite the substance abuse, I don't feel that she would want harm to come to the children. It's almost as though there was either a jealous lover, perhaps, that caused the children to go missing, or if it was someone that had a vendetta against one of the parents. So I will just leave that with you to decide. My dream, the notes that came out, and I know there are certain aspects I feel like I shouldn't share, right? But I think that at the bottom line here is that we need to keep searching for Jack and Lilly, and that we need to keep having discussions, even if it feels like everything that I just said was remarkably inappropriate. We need attention to their little lives, which mattered so much. And I believe that if we can continue to collectively ask questions and to think outside of the box, that there will be a break in this case. Now, I know that June 2nd, there was a public vigil and that the mother didn't attend. I also want to say, I believe that's because she has a massive fear for her safety. So perhaps there's even more going on than what came through in my dream and what came through in the remote viewing. As far as it goes with July 16th, when the pink blanket and a rain boot outline were discovered, I think it's important that these items were found, but as you see, it's not leading to a significant breakthrough. I don't believe that those items have as much impact at this point than what's already been presented. Is it important? Yes. Was it planted there to throw people off the track? It's very possible. Does the RCMP know more than they have shared publicly? Absolutely. I think it's really important for us to understand that people respond to grief in different ways. And I do understand that the stepfather to Jack and Lilly has provided all the information that the authorities have requested and asked for. He has granted them the opportunity to seize his cell phone, go through it, look at bank statements. I don't see that this disappearance has anything to do with, let's say, human trafficking. I also don't believe that it is connected to any type of financial gain. I believe at the heart of this is something around relationship challenges, and only time can truly say, right? Because this is all speculation and using my intuition. I will share a couple of final last thoughts that two children had a lot of joy in their lives. There would be times that they would get sick, let's say a little bit more often than average children. I see intuitively before their disappearance that they were prone to getting sick quite easily. Their immune system was low. We do know that economic circumstances made their lives a little bit more challenging, but Lilly keeps popping up and saying that there was so much magic around the house where they lived. They were always doing things that made them laugh and brought them joy. So I think it's important for me to share this dream, for us to understand that this is a mystery that is still deeply unsolved, but that our attention needs to be focused on it. If it is indeed a very tragic end to Jack and Lilly, which I speculate has occurred, I want you to understand that they did not suffer unnecessarily so. And that they, especially Lilly, who's communicating to me more even right now, wants to just affirm that from harsh things, good things can grow. So I really love the spirit of Lilly. I also see that Lilly and Jack would be very mischievous and do things that they knew would get them in trouble, but they would do stuff just to laugh. And if there's anything that I want to end this video on, it's them.